What's up, guys? Welcome back to Uncanny Expeditions. I'm happy to report that I'm still alive and I haven't been kidnapped and thrown into the back of a black SUV yet. Today we have a very exciting video. We're going to be riding out to a little-known ghost town that straddles the Area 51 border, checking out some mining tunnels underground, and we're even going to be checking out an abandoned gate that leads into an abandoned part of the Area 51 base. So sit down, buckle up, and let's get exploring. The area surrounding Groom Lake, like most of the land in Nevada, has a long and storied history with old mines and ghost towns that were once home to miners. One of the mines around here, known as the Groom mine, was the subject of an intense legal battle between the family that owned the property and the US government. What made this property so special was how close it was to the base. The Air Force kept trying to buy it from the family, but they kept rejecting their offers, and eventually the government ended up taking them to court due to this, and they claimed it was a national security concern. I believe the case was finally resolved in 2019 with the land being taken by the Air Force under eminent domain, and the family ended up receiving upwards of $1 million in compensation, still not nearly what they wanted out of it. While the trial was still ongoing, members of the family had to actually be issued security clearances just in order to drive to their property, which is pretty crazy, because they had to drive through the Area 51 perimeter to even get onto their land. I'd love to be able to visit the Groom mine, but since I don't want to get detained by the camo dudes today, we'll be riding out to another mine that sits right on the border in the Bald Mountain area. This is called the Andes mine. I haven't seen this part of the Area 51 border explored too much, so I had to do some research to make sure that roads were decent and the trails weren't going to be too washed out leading up there. These mountains are pretty remote. My initial plan was to approach from the north near Rachel, but as the trail seemed a little washed out from the rains, I decided to approach from the southeast from a road near Coyote Summit. It's called Anus Mine Road. I suspect the camo dudes monitor this road, so we'll see if they make their presence known on the ride up the mountain. The mine I'm heading for had its first claim staked in 1954 by a guy named Anderson, hence the name, I suppose. It contained mercury. The mercury here was actively mined between 1954 and 1957, with the mining rights changing hands a few times, eventually ending up with a company called the Western Mercury and Uranium Corporation. By 1957, the poor quality ore that they were producing and the less favorable economic conditions in the area led to the mining activity ending. Any artifacts that we end up finding up here should be from this time period, as the area has remained pretty undisturbed since the late 1950s, early 1960s. Sitting at an elevation of over 6,200 feet, I'm in for a pretty good climb on my little Honda trail here. Looks like I did just about almost make a wrong turn, so let me go ahead and take this right-hand fork. That's going to take me where I need to go. And here I go scaring the cows again. All right, I'm just gonna pull into this little turnout here. Boy, the pine trees up here sure are beautiful. All right, well, I've made it to where I'm gonna park the bike for now and do some walking around on foot. That road up was actually a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. If I had to guess, I'd say the rancher who owns the whatever the Medlin Ranch is called now, I think they must grade this road because I see their cows up here, and the road looked like it had been graded at least within the last few years. So not too bad, all said and done. So I'm gonna go and walk around now and check out some of these artifacts. No sign of the camo dudes yet. I don't know if I'm close enough to the border to set them off, but after I walk around here a little bit, I'll push in a little closer towards some of the border points and see if we get a reaction. I'm heading down this little trail now, approaching some of the remains of what's left of the mining camp. Unfortunately, it looks like the years of sitting out in the elements have taken their toll on these buildings, as there's not much left but some collapsed roofs. Wow, now this is pretty cool. As I'm passing the remains of the buildings, I'm finding what's probably the best preserved relic in this whole ghost town. This is an old excavator that's presumably been sitting here since the 1950s, perfectly well preserved out here in the desert. Now this is actually a really cool find. Check it out, you have no graffiti, no vandalism, just perfectly preserved out here. Stuff like this is kind of rare to find these days. That's how you know you're somewhere really remote. So many things are full of bullet holes or graffiti. Not so with this excavator. Apparently this was number 29B, whatever that means. Here we have a look inside the engine compartment. Wow, check out those monster treads. Those are pretty massive. It's amazing they were able to get this piece of equipment out here, somewhere so remote like this. It's another look inside the engine compartment here. All right, now I'm gonna make my way up this hillside. I saw a glint of metallic material sitting up at the top, which I think, judging by my study of the satellite view, should be an old water tower that's sitting up on top of this hill, or water tank rather. Let's go check it out. And anything gonna come out of the spigot? Didn't think so. I'm getting pretty thirsty though, so good thing I brought my own water. All right, well, no UFOs yet, but there's my first aircraft sighting of the day. Nothing too exotic. Looks like it's a C-130, if I'm not mistaken.
AC-130 standing by.
All right, well guys, what do you say we start pushing up the mountain towards the infamous Area 51 border? I actually have my eyes set on a particular place. Right up ahead a ways, there's actually an abandoned road that leads to an abandoned entrance to the perimeter. Just on the other side of that perimeter is apparently an abandoned communications facility. I believe it is, or it was a high-range repeater site according to the Dreamland Resort Forum. So I don't really know what I'm going to find up here. The road is totally abandoned. There's no actual physical gate that's still in use there. So we'll see if we have any camo dudes and see if we can even find this border crossing. Is this one of those Tic Tac UFOs I keep hearing about? So according to Gaia GPS, I'm supposed to be entering a trail right now, but I'm literally just riding up the side of the mountain through the brush. If there was ever a trail here, it is long overgrown. Man, this terrain is really getting intense. I wonder if this is the craziest place anybody's ever taken their Trail 125. Up the side of a cliff towards Area 51. Hey Honda, if you're watching, you should totally sponsor me. All right guys, I'm gonna get out and walk from here. I'm getting really close to the border right now. I actually don't know if there's gonna be a sign or not, so I gotta be really careful. If it looks like I'm getting really close and I don't see a sign, I'm just gonna turn back. I'm really nervous right now, because not only do I not see any camo dudes, but, oh wait, I see, okay, I got an orange post up ahead. All right, well, here we are. All right, I'm gonna start heading down before a camo dude starts coming up after me. So yeah, it's interesting there weren't any signs at that one, just the orange posts, which the orange posts basically mark the border. At any point where there isn't signs, you wanna make sure you're not on the other side of the orange posts, just because, yeah, it's really easy when you're out in the backcountry like this to accidentally wander across the border. I kind of thought there might be some old signs on this road just because it is actually a road. And like I mentioned earlier, on the top of this road is some sort of old facility that's abandoned. It is within the restricted zone, so I can't go there, but I believe it was like a communications building or something on top of this peak. Still waiting for a white Raptor to come barreling up this hill towards me. So far, nothing yet. This road's so remote that I almost feel like they don't have any sensors or anything on it. But I'll know soon enough if they do. There's an old can there from back in the old miner days. All right, well now it's time for the next leg of the journey. We're gonna head down the side of the mountain that we just came up, hop across the highway, and on to the ghost town of Old Tempiute. So I'm riding out now to the Old Tempiute mine, not to be confused with the New Tempiute mine or Lincoln mine, which is a tungsten mine that I've explored a couple years ago. I'll link that video somewhere down in the description. This particular mine in Ghost Town was a silver mine, and it was active in the late 1800s. Silver was first discovered in this mountain in 1865, after which a small mining camp was founded. There were new discoveries in 1868, which attracted more miners, and by the end of the 1870s, the camp had a population of over 50 people. Wow, crazy. It even had its own post office, actually. That was from 1879 until 1883. There was no water at the town, though, so water had to be hauled up from the valley, so that limited the growth of this particular settlement. By 1883, most people had moved on, and the town became a ghost town. We're arriving now at some of the old stone foundations. Unfortunately, there's nothing really left of the structures other than these stone foundations. And this right here looks to have been the town garbage dump, this pile of cans. These are always the last thing to ever decay. The road continues up for a little ways. We're gonna hike up and see what we find up ahead. And here we have some more remains of a structure. I wonder what this was. It could have been a house, a schoolhouse, or hey, maybe even the post office. We're going to continue through this old rusty metal gate here. The actual mine entrance should be just a little ways up ahead. Here's the structure where the silver ore was loaded up onto wagons and was transported down to the main road. And here we've finally arrived at the entrance to the mine itself. Let's see what we have here. Big disclaimer as always, don't try this at home if you value your life. Don't explore abandoned mines. Very dangerous. Okay, I'm entering the mine portal now. I'm going to follow it until I get to the end of the main passage, hopefully. Yeah, the ceiling is pretty low. I can almost stand up full height, but I have to hunch a little bit. Sorry for the wobbly footage. And looks like nothing in the explosive cabinet. Oh, check out this little bat. They look so cute when they're huddled up, hanging from the ceiling like that. Yep, so here's the end of the line. Alright, so I made it to the end of this passage. I'm going to go ahead and backtrack now. Okay, well I went down a few of the side passages that branched off from the main one. I didn't find anything down them, no artifacts, and they all just dead-ended. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here. Thanks for watching, guys, and tune in on the next one. See you later.